last spring, we issued Exide a temporary order to suspend their operation. We received two pieces of information that gave us pause and great concern. Those two pieces of information were that they had leaky pipes. We were concerned they were releasing hazardous waste subsurface on a continual basis, and as well as a risk assessment that was done for the South Coast Air Quality Management District that indicated that there were elevated levels of risk from their arsenic emissions. So at that point, when we received those, we shut that facility down. Through a number of court proceedings, we ended up ordering Exide to resolve that suspension. We gave them what's called a stipulation and order. It's an enforcement order that lays out the specific conditions that they have to meet if they chose to reopen. Our job is to protect the public health of communities across the state, and we have a particular commitment protecting those community members who are most vulnerable. This most recent order is another in a series of orders that we have given to Exide to conduct work to make sure that they are not posing a risk to the community around them. There are two things that are very important in this order. The first is that they are going to go out and do additional sampling, more focused, concentrated, detailed sampling in these two neighborhoods that they have sampled already. And on top of that, they're going to be moving out, stepping away from these neighborhoods to see how far out this lead contamination actually is in the community. Second most important step in this order is the requirement that they propose to us, and they actually conduct some initial steps that minimize the exposure for pregnant women and children. We want them out there within the next 3 or 4 weeks to making sure that they take whatever steps are necessary at those homes where there are pregnant women and children. They have been operating at that facility since the 1920s, and our lines of evidence have allowed us to conclude that they are a contributor to the lead that we're finding. Lead is a potent neurotoxin. We've known about this for decades, if not centuries. It is particularly potent for young children under 5, 6 years old because their developmental systems are still in process, and lead has a tremendous impact on that system. For pregnant women, it is problematic. It can be problematic for the fetus as well. So we picked two areas that were identified as the most likely affected from emissions from the Exide plant. And one of these neighborhoods is north and one of these neighborhoods is south. In addition, there are two schools that were a little bit further away that were some of the nearest schools that we wanted to have sampled as well. We asked them to go out and sample in these areas, and they were looking for arsenic, lead, and a number of other contaminants that could be associated with the operation of that facility. I'm very pleased to say we do not find elevated levels of arsenic nor of any of the other chemicals. That was the good news. The difficult news is what we had were these higher concentrations just above, in some cases well above, that health protective screening level. And that, while it's not an emergency situation, we responded immediately to have Exide and having Exide go out and take the next steps to evaluate and to make sure that this, where we find these concentrations, that it's not posing a risk to any of our most vulnerable community members. This work with the soil and dust sampling, if they do not comply, there are stipulated automatic penalties in our order up to $10,000 per day if they don't comply. In addition, we have all of the statutes and authorities that DTSC has been granted to chase polluters and make sure that they take responsibility and are held accountable. We are in this permit evaluation process. All of these elements go into our consideration of whether this facility is willing and capable of operating a safe facility. And we are in that determination period right now, and the jury is still out. We have worked very closely with Los Angeles County Health Department, their childhood lead prevention program, as well as our state partners at the Department of Health, and provided a number of recommendations for residents to take some precautions to protect their own health in this short interim period. And those are simple as washing their hands and their children's hands when they come in from playing outside, keeping their kids away from playing in bare soil, washing fruits and veggies that you might grow in your own garden outside in the yard, putting perhaps a floor mat in front of your door so that you're not tracking soil and dust from the yard into the home. We're encouraging residents to participate in the blood sampling program that the Los Angeles County Health Department is offering in April. It is a voluntary program. It's offered to residents all around Exide. I think it's a very important step in beginning to understand whether or not there are health impacts in the community. Keeping this community informed is a paramount importance to us, because we know that this is an energized and aware community, and they're very focused on this Exide facility. Once we have the findings from this report of the soil contamination, we reviewed it, and we immediately reached out to the residents whose homes, there was 39 homes that were sampled in these two neighborhoods. We have been on the phone with them, we have sent them mailings, and we've offered individual meetings so that we can talk with them and help them understand what we found. We also reached out to the neighborhoods in which these homes exist, so that that neighborhood has an understanding of what's going on with their neighbors. On top of that, we've reached out to the whole broader Maywood, Cudahy, Boyle Heights, Vernon area with notifications that the soil sampling has been complete. This is what we found, and we're holding 2 meetings, public workshops on March 18th and 19th at the Los Angeles Resurrection Church with Father John Moretta as our host, and we will have county health there, we will have our own staff there, we will have hopefully the Air Quality Management District to answer questions and concerns from the community so that we can listen, we can understand what folks are worried about, what they feel confident about, what kinds of questions they have, so that as we craft this path forward that we have a clear understanding of what this community wants and needs.